States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, are we streaming? Or should I ask you first?
How you doing, Jim?
Good, how about you?
Roll call?
Mr. Dombrowski,
Here.
Mr. Cortez. Mr. Rossi.
Here.
Mr. McDermott.
Here.
Mr. Baya.
Here.
Mr. Beardman.
Here.
Mr. Stevens.
Here.
Anyone from the public here? Would you like to comment on anything? Or just here to listen? All right, great. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming. Approval of the minutes. Has everyone gone through? Any questions? All right, we could probably,
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Who approved it?
Mike Rossi.
Mike.
Okay.
we
Call to accept the minutes.
so we call the roll.
Yeah.
Call the
Okay.
roll.
Yeah.
Mr. Dombrowski.
Here.
Mr.
Or yes.
Rossi.
Here. Yes.
Mr. McDermott.
Here.
Mr. Baya.
Here.
Mr. Beardman.
Here.
Mr.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm both here and yes at the same time. I don't know if I'm here, actually. Treasurer's report.
Okay, treasurer's report, our cash is down a little bit, month over month. One of the biggest reasons is we started cutting a few checks for the Five-Corner Mobile that we'll see on the invoice resolution. We have about $43,000 left in JFA, and that's for loans. The 92 that you'll see on the sheet was prior to cutting about a $30,000 check from Mark Otani. So the treasurer's report in line with the cash as it has been for many, many months now. Bill, do we need to stop there or can we do bills and invoices?
We motion to approve the treasurer's report. I mean,
Bills and invoices is a
we do that next. Yes, I need somebody to approve the treasurer's report.
All right, cool.
Bill,
Yep.
second.
I'll second it.
Patsy.
Thanks. Okay, now you have bill and invoice resolution.
Okay, so the bills and invoice resolution, it's our normal invoice bills. We take in pilots, we have AGT pilot on here, some legal fees for Chuck, videographer, EK Granite pilots. And then we do have the large check that we wrote to Five-Corner Mobile for $30,000 and a little bit of insurance expense and then payroll. So nothing out of the ordinary. We knew that check was going to be written for the loan we gave to Mr. Otani. So that's the invoice resolution.
Sponsor.
Dan.
Jim Stevens.
Yeah.
I'll second it then. All right, Jim will second.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Mr. Dombrowski.
Yes.
Mr. Cortez.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Baya.
Yes.
Mr. Beardman.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
I have a question regarding the Five Corners. Was that check to be made out to Five Corners or was it to be made out to the person that he's buying the merchandise from, the prior?
There, by the way, Chuck had an important meeting in the town of Florida. He had to be at court. So he said he was going to send an email explaining that, why he's not here. But I guess I can answer that on his behalf. Chuck had a closing with Mr. Otani, just like a house closing type situation, and checks were made out to the vendors. The most recent check, Sandy, if you want to help me out, was when he get that last vendor, you were going to send that last vendor.
He had the equipment, he had the fryer and the warmer. And
Remember
he
the
had
fryer from
receipt.
Price Chopper?
Yes.
Right.
And he did provide a receipt for that. And then the remaining funds, okay, I would divide by Chuck to write a check out. And the remaining funds will be used for additional equipment, labor, and installation, and other costs.
They'll be made out to Five Corners. They will not be
It was
made out.
made out.
Made out to 5
Yeah.
That's the end of it, right?
Yeah,
That was the
it.
last check.
That was
That
the
was it.
That's the
leftover.
last one, yes.
The other checks were made out to the
Were made
vendors
out to the
last month.
vendors.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lester. Okay.
Yes.
chairman's report.
I think we're gonna address that in new business, so nothing in the chairman's report. That's just a error on where we're putting it.
Okay, attorney's report, Chuck did say he apologizes, but he was called to town of Florida court for serious business. He'll be sending an email explaining. As far as my report, just a couple different things. Excuse me. Every year there is a conference, an economic development conference in Cooperstown, New York, and I'll be attending that this year for the first time. Because I just feel like the last conference that I went to, I was able to, make some ingrounds regarding our Chalmers site, which is really our marquee site. I also spoke to the construction developer of the Gettysburg housing project on East Main Street. And she is very interested in submitting some housing project for Chalmers. And she's also interested in possibly a veterans project, housing project, which is their forte. And so I said, listen, anything you want to bring to me, my attention, I will share with the board. Whether they're going to like what may go there is up to them. But, the more input we get for what could be put on that Chalmers site, the better. So I'm looking forward to continuing with her. 2022 Main Street, which is right down here next to where the old Tenzer's Furniture Store, the old Wrestling Hall of Fame, the old brewery, and once was our building. 2022 was the building that was condemned. And at one point they were thinking of tearing it down. The city was thinking of tearing it down. Well, I've been working with Dan Gray on this project as far as committing to a pilot, if the board so desires. And what the developer is going to do is he's been in and out of that building for the last few days, checking on asbestos, checking on the structure, met with Mike Clark, the city engineer. Although it needs a lot of engineering structural work, they feel that they can do the project. So they're going to bring that building back to life and make it a mixed use. First floor is going to be business, commercial, and the next couple floors is going to be, you're going to see housing. So there is a desire to work with AIDA on a pilot and sales tax exemption in the next couple months. So there's good news there. Beacon Mills, which is Edward Street, waiting pattern until we get the HCR applications reopened for the next rounds, the 9% RFPs expected this summer. Had a call with Five Corners and Home Leasing, and Five Corners will be bringing in a new partner for the project. Assured it won't impact the project at all. ICANN is still on board 100%. The likelihood of funding and everything will move forward as planned. So there's no hiccups at all with that project.
And the award for that money is February, is that right?
Yes. The application will go in this summer. I think you recall me talking about the Beckman building, how Klaus had a very big concern about a antique fire hydrant. Remember I mentioned that? Anyway, the city has been working on that. And Klaus also wanted the board to know that he has made the summary of the 2025 building repairs expenditures. And he sent me this printout of everything that he has done, which totals up to $200,355.79 worth of improvements to our building, because he has such a great lease agreement with us. So he does all the improvements to his desires, and we get a lesser lease. So it's a pretty good relationship we have. So that's why I wanted to make sure that the fire hydrant situation that he was worried about gets taken care of, because he's been such a great tenant. And AGT, one of our partners in the industrial park, I talked to some of the senior members that were at AGT, and their concern is job and job retention. They could hire 6 people tomorrow if we had them available. It's a very strenuous type operation. They recycle generators that are usually built at GE, and I'm talking big giant generators that have to sit on a flatbed. So anyway, I focused them toward the Fulton Montgomery College job fair, because over 400 people have attended that in the past. So I hooked him up with Christy Davis from the college, and they're excited to put on display a little bit of history or job description. They're looking for the mechanical inclined person who knows how to use a wrench and a hammer and not afraid to work overtime. They start pay at $30 an hour, so hopefully they can fill their gap in their employment. We're also working with AGT, myself, Dan Gray, and Danielle Welly on a grant for a $150,000 compressor. If you could imagine a compressor costing that much, but for their operations, he was explaining to me, they need hydrogen, and all kinds of vacuums to make sure it's airtight and et cetera, and also free of any moisture. So hopefully that's going to happen, but we recommended that they get a $150,000 application, submit one with Ken Rose, who said he could give them a good deal because we don't have $150,000 to loan. Ken Rose came in, so Ken's going to give them the money, which will also show that to the state that they are really in need of this grant money. So it's all going to come together as soon as AGT finishes the application. Other than that, I'm good. Any questions?
That's the 2022 Main Street, the one right on the corner?
No.
No, it's
That's
Just down from it,
Just
just
one in?
east of it.
I know we brought this question up before. AGT is just such a great tenant and partner. He seemed very close hold on like doing a case study or, advertising at least on social media. Do you think that's still the case?
Yeah, they're very provincial, if that's the right word. So they like to do their thing and not have a lot of fanfare. So they're an international company. Sometimes you may have seen on the rail system AGT services with a globe, those blue steel containers. That's with them. They have companies in our industrial park and also around. I think there's one in Georgia. They also recruit people from Georgia at times when they have a big project here in Amsterdam, and they house them at the Microtel on the south side. They visit and frequent a lot of the restaurants, so it's a good situation for them, and they like Amsterdam. So, and they're a good tenant, very good tenant. But yes, to answer your question, I would think not at this time.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I'm good.
Okay.
Committee reports? How about old business? We have a resolution, don't we? Bringing, or that's under new business, but the sale of the 55 Edward Edson Street. We have Mr. Pertel, who's one of the spokesperson and developers that is involved, partners or whatever, if I'm saying all that right, if there's any questions for that. If not, we do have a resolution in front of you.
I have a lot of questions, and I think Chuck Schwartz has a lot of questions. So he has, the letter that he wrote to Bob, dated April 10th, where he had some concerns. And
Do you have a copy of that? I can have a copy.
if you can make a copy of that,
I got a copy.
or you can have it, I've got it on my computer.
Yeah, they're in the folders.
Yeah,
Oh, is it?
in the folder.
Oh, you want?
Dear Bob. You want-
Yeah, I made a copy too.
I get that one.
I printed it off.
Okay.
So with regard to the resolution, there's a contract attached. Offer to purchase real property and acceptance. It looks like Chuck has pretty much already gone through this, and he noted some changes and some questions. We're giving you what we got. We're not doing anything more than giving you what we've got. It says seller to furnish warranty deed. My question is, when we're giving you what we got, we give you a quick claim. We are quitting our claim to it. So that's a question. Chuck had some other questions about closing costs. It says that the seller is to provide a 40-year abstract title. That should be the purchaser. Title examination, mortgage and title insurance paid by the seller. That should be the purchaser. Cost of preparing and executing deeds paid by the seller. That should be the purchaser. Recording the deed, they've got the seller, Chuck's got a P, which I presume means purchaser. Transfer taxes paid by the seller, Chuck's got a P. Presumably that means paid by the purchaser. And then it has, what we are warranting. We're not warranting anything. We're saying, here's a piece of land, and we're happy to quit our claim. We don't know anything about environmental problems. We don't know anything about that, and that's up to the purchaser to look into. And in the contract, it does have the purchaser doing exactly that. And so that's fine. And hopefully the purchaser will have its experts go through it and see that there are no environmental problems. And they have, all of what we're supposedly improving right now is contingent on the purchaser doing all these environmental reviews, making sure that there are no concerns with the property. And it says, the purchaser's sole cost for environmental audits, soil tests, surveys, engineering tests, so that's fine. And then, after we reach the agreement, they have 6 months for the inspection period. And then there's another 6 months for final approval, contingency. And so there are lots and lots of contingencies in here, which are normal, given the situation. But, once we sign this contract, hopefully everybody on the board doesn't think, well, we're signing a final contract, because there are so many different contingencies in here. And again, nothing that I saw as unusual. But, we're agreeing to extend these various periods for a reasonable time. Say they did an environmental test and they found something and they had to do additional tests. Well, we're saying we'd give you extra time, and I'm sure we would. But, once once we approve this, I don't want the board to think, oh, okay, well, it's all over and done with, because it's not, because the purchaser has many contingencies in the contract. And again, nothing that I found to be particularly unusual. Just it, gives them an opportunity to kind of walk away. There was one section, and, if somebody filed an Article 78 proceeding, now, I don't know, maybe somebody in the neighborhood will say, oh my God, there's gonna be all this terrible traffic, people coming and going. They're gonna file Article 78, which is just asking the judge to review. This would be contingent on that Article 78 going through whatever type of hearing would be required and whatever appeal might happen. And again, nothing unusual there. There is something that I don't like at all, and it says, the purchaser may, at its sole discretion, assign its rights and obligations under this agreement without the seller's prior written consent. Absolutely not. We're doing this for this company.
All right,
We're not.
what page is that? What
That
section is that?
is. Well,
It's number 13.
It's number 13, it's not, pages aren't numbered, Joe.
Okay,
It's number 13.
So do you want to make it a motion to amend this and
Well,
delete that section?
Yeah, what I'd like to make a motion to do is, I'd like to have Chuck here, because part of what I'm reading is Chuck's own concerns with regard to this. So my motion would be to table it till the next meeting, when Chuck can be here and go over this a little more thoroughly with us.
Joe, were you planning on voting on this tonight?
We were, the board was planning on voting on this. But if there's a motion to table
Well,
means.
Usually
I
when,
just want to explain, a motion to table means that all discussion stops and the
Yeah,
vote
let me
to
withdraw that. Let me withdraw that, Joe, because I want discussion.
Right,
I don't
right,
want
right.
to stop
All
discussion.
right.
Joe, when a resolution comes before us, I'm assuming it's reviewed by our AIDA council. And he recommends whether we vote on it or not. To go through the details of this, I'm kind of lost. I have to rely on our corporation council, on our AIDA council to
Right.
advise me on how to vote on this.
Right.
It's hard for me to follow the legalities of what you said. If the council gives its approval, then I'm gonna vote for it.
With him not being here, how does that work?
Well, Joe, you've had discussions with Chuck, has he approved this?
He brought this to our board to vote on at the request of the last meeting, that he would put together a resolution and all the wording here. Now, a member can say, I'd like to make a motion to amend, delete number 13. That would have to be voted on by all of you. Now,
Just a quick question. At the end of the letter, it says, please review these changes, and if acceptable, please forward an updated contract. Did you forward, was there an updated contract forwarded?
I didn't even see this.
Okay, so.
No, I haven't seen enough.
So if we don't have, and according to Chuck's letter, we don't have yet an updated contract.
Right.
Am I correct?
Chuck's letter said, here are some of the things that I need. And I'm presuming that it was Chuck's, where it says P, instead of salary's got P. I'm presuming he means instead of the seller, us paying for something, it's gonna be the purchaser.
So say, Bob, you were.
Bob was raising his hand.
Go ahead.
A couple things. One, Chuck wrote this, we didn't write this.
Okay.
So I would assume that's his suggestion, okay? If you want to cross out paragraph 13, or you want to amend that, that's your choice. I don't see where that's gonna create an issue. As far as the other requirements that Chuck has asked for, I don't see anything in there that is cost prohibitive from us continuing. Okay? Your transfer tax and all that's gonna be minimal. And we're probably not talking about $2,000 our cost. So I don't see it as a problem to us on that. The assignment agreement, remember also, you can take it out, and then we have an attorney review, and then we can have more discussion about it. I think right now what we're looking for is to get the commitment, because we've secured the property behind it, and we just want to start getting things together.
Well, and the project, as Jeff told us at the last meeting, is at the very earliest stages. So I think if we delay this for 1 month so that our attorney is here, so that we can ask questions about what, if this is what he drafted, then I have some questions about what he drafted. So I think the board is very much in agreement that we'd like to do this for this project, because this would be a terrific project for the city. So I don't think it's a question of not doing it. I just think it's a question of making sure that the legal contract is appropriate from AIDA's point of view and from Jeff's point of view.
So if I might also, I didn't notice that there was an attorney approval clause in this.
I didn't see one.
So, I mean, you could make whatever you sign, whatever you sign, could be contingent upon attorney review.
Well, then that's the same thing as tabling it and having Chuck here at the next meeting.
If you're gonna have attorney approval, I'd rather have that in there. The attorney approves it before the meeting, so I don't have to go through legal contracts and have them discussed at a board level. I'd like the council to approve it, that he's reviewed it, approved it, we can vote on it.
Yeah.
Rather than go through the
Yeah,
legalities
right.
of all the
So-
conditions you're talking about.
Just approve it basically without number 13.
And
And if Chuck says it's okay,
Well, I have
council
Chuck review it and say
review it
it's,
and then kind
he
of
approves.
just, we're on the same page saying it'll move forward.
I'm a layman in all this.
well, so all of us except Chuck.
Doesn't the fact that you
Well,
have this,
I mean, except,
Bill,
I'm not blowing my own horn, but I have about 44 years practicing law.
doesn't the fact that you have this suggest that Chuck approves it and agrees with it?
What are you holding up?
The letter.
That's the letter here.
Letter, the contract. Because you all have a copy of the contract, right?
We have a copy of the
Yeah.
resolution.
Yeah.
My only interest is it's my work, so I take interest in it.
Sure.
But whether Chuck's here or not, isn't this representing Chuck because he turned this in for you guys to go over?
That's a great question.
I'd like,
He obviously took serious note of all of you being professionals and, coming to a conclusion based on the submitted documents to you. So,
Well, if that's the case, then I have a series of questions for our attorney. If this is in fact what he drafted, then I have a number of questions, some of them not just incidental, but fairly
But
serious.
it sounds like this is more of an agreement vote tonight than it is a sale vote tonight because there's so many contingencies. So it's a matter of having a commitment of agreement so both parties can move forward.
Well, Chris, the contingencies all favor the purchaser.
Understood,
Yeah, so it's not like there are contingencies
understood.
that we could walk away from. And I would not sign an agreement that gives the purchaser at its sole discretion the obligation or the right to assign his rights without any written approval of AIDA.
Right,
Didn't
Joe
Bob
had
say we could
mentioned
get rid of that?
Joe had mentioned that you could make an amendment to remove that
And I think Bob said we would remove that, right?
Well,
Usually that's there when you'd want to bring in a partner, like, it just in the example of Five Corners doing so, like you'd want to sometimes bring in, a partner to help with lending or sometimes even transfer it to an LLC that's, a child of a parent company. But I think Phil's point is that that could also be given to a completely different buyer.
Well, if Chuck was here, he could tell us exactly what he's saying.
Again, you're not voting on the sale tonight, you're voting on an agreement. And instead of, when you kick the can down the road, this might be a good opportunity to not do that. And to at least have an agreement with the purchaser, for further review and to give them a commitment to move forward and you're giving them a commitment that you're gonna work with.
So,
And that's just my opinion on it. I see no, I understand we need to have safeguards in absolutely every single thing we do. And I agree with Phil, that there needs to be safeguards. But I don't think this is such a final purchase agreement that you can't vote on it tonight for the benefit of having a commitment with the purchaser.
and again, since this project is at its absolute initial stage, there hasn't even been a vote for the school district to sell the land. That takes place in May. Just let me finish. Delaying this for 1 month so that the attorney that represents AIDA's interest, Chuck, can be here and we can talk about this and Chuck can say, yes, this is what I put in, or, oh, okay, let me change that. I don't think that's a big deal. And certainly this is not going to delay this project. Once again, the school district doesn't have permission yet from the voters to do this. That hopefully, and I truly hope the voters approve it, will take place in May. So delaying this 1 month will not delay this project 1 second.
So there's two projects. There's the school district project, and then there's the Partika property.
Right.
7 acres.
Right.
The two are not going to be connected.
Right.
Other than the passing of a water line through this property to get the other. The 7 acres, that's the Partika property, that is not accessible through the road off of Catherine Street because of the ravine, okay, is going to be veterans housing. And we're gonna do that project, whether we do the 180 lot or 180 door subdivision or not. So this is not, this road isn't even gonna connect to the school district property. That's a totally different thing, so.
Well, Jeff won't need this road if he doesn't get permission.
Yes.
No,
we're
he already
talking about
owns the
Partika
Partika property.
He
This is for
owns-
Partika
Oh.
property, not school.
This Partika property is between the end of the 512-foot by 50-foot lot that you have that hits the Partika property. Then between the AIDA property and the school district property is the Partika property, which is not going to be connected with a road, okay? If anything, well, it will connect to water and sewer from that project. But before that project will be, the Veterans Project will happen whether we get the school district property or not.
Okay, and at what stage is the Veterans Project?
We're in planning.
When?
We have a contract on the property and we can close as soon as it's approved by the circuit court.
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna be ready to go with that.
And with regard to the Partika property, I want to put on the record that Rick Partika was a friend of mine, practicing attorney, appeared in my court regularly, and I know both of his daughters. So I want to be sure everybody is aware of that. So that can't take place until there's a surrogate court approval.
it's in for approval.
Right.
Going
And
which you know.
currently, the surrogates court, the judge is now the Supreme Court. So there is no Montgomery County surrogate court judge right now. I'm sure that there are visiting judges who step in and take a look at things, but again, if we're gonna be approving something that our lawyer drafted, then we should be in a position to talk to the lawyer about that. And I certainly have questions about that.
Mr. Chairman, what do you want?
What is the risk with waiting a month? How does that set the project back?
Look, everybody wants finality to everything. And we want to feel progress. We want to feel that we're making progress with the community. And that's important. You know, is it going to stop the project? No. Okay, but we certainly would like to feel comfortable and confident about this. And I guess my question is, well, it's not my question, Mr. Chairman.
How does the
We
board
asked
feel?
your
Does the
opinion,
board
so
feel
let us
like
know.
My opinion is.
they are willing
Did
to
you
wait a
guys-
month? Does the board want to wait a month or even send it to a committee? We
No,
have-
I don't think it needs to go to a committee. I just think it's important for the board to have our attorney, Chuck, who does good work for us, we trust him, to have him sitting in that chair answering some questions, certainly questions that I have, having read this contract and having read numerous contracts over the years. And
I'd feel a lot more comfortable if you and Chuck met before the meeting and then hashed that out and decided what you wanted to do before you brought it to the
yeah, well,
board of lay people.
well, my questions are fairly simple.
That's what the committee process would be like.
Yeah,
And if
right.
it went to the Economic Development Committee, you could meet anytime with
Yeah,
Chuck
yeah.
at his office and then just make the recommendation to come back here and then we just, who wants to make the motion, who wants to, instead of all the unknowns, because Chuck's not here, the Economic Development Committee consists of Mr. Cortez with, I believe, Mr. Domkowski and Mr. Stevens.
I do believe that pushing more work to the economic, or to the committees is gonna help us be more efficient. That's just a general.
I'm willing to meet up there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I can't
think-
assume it'd take a long time to do that.
it's not gonna take a long time, because Chuck is gonna have his pen out,
You know,
and.
I mean, we already have our questions,
Yeah,
so
and we've got questions, so committee of the whole can do it.
Yeah, we can come in with the
And there-
recommendation for our next meeting.
There are not major changes, and we're only talking about 1 month. And I understand people want finality. But those people don't have our requirement that we do diligence with regard to these things. So if we're going to sign a contract, then it needs to be, the language in the contract needs to be appropriate. And as I read this contract, it's not.
Okay, so if we motion the table, that'll stop all discussion. We'll vote on motioning it to table. The Economic Development Committee will then organize and meet with Chuck. And then at the next board meeting or a special meeting, if they so desire to call, we will then vote on the amended, after the recommendation of the Economic Development Committee and Chuck. And they say, yeah, this is it. Let's vote on this right now.
All right.
And let the committee do their work.
Yeah, and I don't think it needs to go to the committee, because I don't think that the discussion that we're gonna have when Chuck is here is gonna take more than 15 minutes. Because Chuck knows what's in the contract, I know what's in the contract. I think I know what we need to change. Those things can be changed fairly quickly. I don't think it's gonna be any big deal, and I think it would benefit all of the board to hear that discussion. So I'm not interested in having a committee meeting, but I will make the motion to table it.
I,
I move it to the table, stops all discussion, so we'll make the roll call to table this resolution, which is number,
8.
all right, 8 of 2020.
Bill made a motion.
Yes. Second. Is there a second to
Dan,
table?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Dan?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Pankowski,
Yes.
Mr. Cortez.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Baya.
Yes.
Mr. Pearson.
Yep.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Okay, so moving along to new business.
Okay, so this is what we discussed last board meeting, and this is what I emailed everyone. Apologies on my part, because you all have a copy of this. The problem with email, and this happens all the time, is that when you start making changes to files and email them around, it's hard to understand which version is the most recent. So that was some confusion that I imparted on Sandy. There have been some edits to this. I would say they're very small. Joe's helped me with some, thanks very much. Joe's helped me, with some typos, frankly, on, property names. But the meat of this still is in here. And this is not something that we need to take like a formal resolution vote on. These are topics that we discuss every meeting. The number of sites that are progressing and our goals around those sites, the economics, how much money we have in, and how many jobs are tied to them, and then our coordination within the city and as a key stakeholder to properties. So, for example, in Objective 1, we have 2026 targets for properties in which AIDA is the primary driver. We're the stakeholder. We might own the property, we might have them as a tenant. We're pretty much the one who's involved the most. There are properties like the Marie Curie housing development property that are joint. That's going to be something actually done with the school district, the city government, and we're going to play a part. We probably, will have a pilot, maybe some other benefit to that. So that's more of something that if we're to measure our success with that kind of property, it follows under a goal of coordination with the city, in my opinion, as opposed to an AIDA-owned thing. You get what I'm saying? That, if we have an objective to work with the city, well, let's work with the city well on those projects. Let's establish ways to measure how we can be successful with the city. And the only ways that I feel like we can, do that and measure them are biannual coordination meetings with the mayor's office, a joint priority document produced with the mayor. That could be something as simple as an email that says, Mr. Mayor, these are our 5 priorities to work with you. Are they your 5 priorities too? And have the common council review that. I think that, even just having a goal of having our common council member here is an indication. It's something that we can measure that, hey, we are coordinating with the city. And all in all, all of this it's work that we're continuing to do, and we basically have a plan for that work, and we have goals around that work. And I apologize for jumping around, but one that's particularly important to me that I think is a really crucial measurable, just because it's in the mission statement of AIDA, is if you look under the Objective 2 scorecard, which will be on page 3, the first one is jobs committed, new or retained. It's hard to measure our impact and how many jobs we are creating or losing or retaining, all different measurables. But I put on the goal there of let's try to retain the vast majority of them. Let's try to grow them, of course. But what we can't control is a company goes out of business, a pilot doesn't go through, a number of different variables. How can we make sure that we retain 400 jobs out of the 427 that we are responsible for in part creating? And that's a pretty cool milestone, right? Like if we didn't write this down in this document here and track it on a monthly basis, how we're performing to it, Do you think the city of Amsterdam would know that this group of people are partially responsible for 427 jobs in the city? That's pretty cool. We should be talking and working with our stakeholders, like the mayor's office, like Montgomery County IDA, like our developers, our real estate agent. We should all be collectively marching towards these goals and talking about them and having them written down. And it goes back to my quote of why doing this, what's measured improves. If we weren't measuring it, we wouldn't be able to improve. So that's what this is. And, we've had some discussion about it. I've hoped that you all have gone through it. I'm interested in the board's general consensus and approval. I don't think we need a formal resolution because it's not legislation. But I'd love some commentary. I'd love some consensus and approval. And I think a next step of once I get that approval is that Joe and I can go to a common council meeting and inform our partner here, the city government. This is our plan. These are our goals. We'd be willing to solicit their input too, but we want them to be aware and our goals to be visible. We want them to know that we've created 427 jobs and it's a goal of our organization to keep them. And if not, if anything, it's to grow. Our goal is to have pilots. Our goal is to, have a balanced budget. And our goal is to work with the city. So that's what's laid out here. I welcome some commentary and some questions on that. I hope, what in the latest version, and I'll send this out, it has corrected version. I put this in the email though. I wanted to have, us to be able to answer 4 questions on every goal. Is this achievable? Is this easy to understand? Is it something that's complete, meaning that, does it encompass success? That if we achieve these, we all agree, yeah, that's success. I can put my head down on the pillow at the end of the year in December and say, you know what, we set out what we wanted to at AIDA. And also too, this isn't a constitutional amendment. This isn't a contract. Frankly, every year we're going to revisit these and we're going to establish different goals. We're going to say, well, that one stunk. That's hard to do. And we're going to, have new ones. But, good goals like what are in here, I think beat no goals every time. And that's what this is. This is, let's throw something up against the wall and let's begin part of the way through this year. And then let's revisit in December. And go from there. And this is also based on our audit. It's based on the Paris report. It's based on discussions we have, meeting minutes, treasurer's reports. Like these are things that we do all the time. Frankly, it's just writing them down.
So you just did one of my questions. What is the Paris report?
That is a collection of, and you might be able to answer quite a bit about that, Mike, but it's a collection of financial data, job creation data, pilot data that goes through. And is it done annually or is it just done last year?
It's done every year and it has to have an audit attached to it.
State,
No,
federal?
No, state gets it's the authority budget office gets the report and they have a Paris report. And, we hire Phil Beckett to do the audit and they also do some of the Paris work. We have a lot of input.
So
into Paris.
our auditors are sending input to the New York State
That
Central
goes to the New
Office
York State
for their
Controller.
Paris
Yeah,
report.
controller because of the ABL.
All right.
But, the only thing
And
that,
I'm sure Paris stands for something.
Yeah, what does it stand for?
I don't know.
Something.
All right,
All
and
right,
just,
it's just not,
Yeah.
doesn't make, just,
does
you know what that.
everybody understand pilot is payment in lieu of taxes?
Yep.
The only thing I would do, Dan, is I would say payment in lieu of taxes, parentheses, pilot. Because one of the things is it understandable to regular folks?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of regular folks have no idea what a pilot is. And by the way, what's a KPI?
Key performance indicators.
Key performance. So I do the same thing.
Sure.
Key performance indicator, then put in parentheses KPI. So one of your concerns is that just regular folks on the street, if they're looking at it, they can see what those things mean.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I can't tell you how many times even coming on this board, I feel like I don't know that acronym or I don't know
Right.
and this is,
The Paris report is a public authorities reporting information system.
Okay.
Public Authorities
Reporting
Reporting Information System. Say that fast 3 times.
And Joe, to add to
It's all
your
online.
question too,
Yeah.
the Paris report is a really good report. It's a snapshot of our pilot payments, of the total pilot payments for the year to each entity. It also gives a list of full-time
And just
employees.
interrupt you, hold on, Sandy, and each entity means to the city,
Oh,
the
yeah,
county,
city,
and the
school,
school
yeah.
district, because they get a pilot, which is a payment in lieu of their full assessed taxes. So they'll get a check through our office right to those entities.
So do you any, is it like every AIDA, every IDA in the
Yes.
state?
Yes.
And
Every
Yes.
you
single one.
compare?
So, Pretty
Yes.
much, if we took the Paris reports going back for years, which Sandy and Sandy has been digging them up.
Yeah.
And they are the blueprint. So if we just took that and said, put that into this report here that we have, it could tell us at 1 year, when, say,
I
years
can
ago, when
email-
Pat
I
was
can
the
email
chair,
all the-
we were at the verge of going under with, as far as,
That was before I was the chair. We were going under.
so yeah. Well, anyway, and when you were there, and Jody was here as our director, things turned around. And then I got on the board. Mike's been a veteran on the board. So the Paris report pretty much tells the story. Now,
The employees, how many employees each of our businesses
Right,
have,
so
the
when you ask-
salaries.
how many employees does AGT have in 2023 compared to 2025? That's all in the Paris report.
Well, I know Sandy's been working on a complete list of our accomplishments and a starting point, because I think that's important.
For the new members, I want them to
But even
know
the,
over the years
even
what
the
we've
council, because if you're gonna put something in front of the council, it's gotta be really simple.
Yeah.
So they can follow it.
What are you
You don't
trying to
want-
say?
You want jargon like Paris, or do you wanna know that
We'll put it in
AGT has 40 jobs, they pay $30 an hour, our retention is this percent. We have the Sentinel building that was vacant, and we completely renovated that. We took the Chalmers, or the United Way building, it was gutted, and we turned that out with $400,000 profit. Those are just simplified things, but a starting point.
Yeah.
So the council and the public can see exactly where we started from and where we are now. And then once they see that, it's more of a complete.
And I think we gotta do that in two different ways, because one is like, you know, a lot of historical stuff that needs to be evangelized and needs to be, I think everyone needs to be aware. This is goal tracking from now forward.
Of
So-
living
Yeah.
projects that are
Yeah.
happening now, like the
Right.
22-24 Main Street project that I said they're gonna be, it's like a Restore New York project, and they're gonna be developing it. If they come to us for a pilot, you know, how many jobs are they gonna create? That we could measure that. And so,
And I've used it to inform this too, like what's happened in the past, so that, you know, I know that 400 jobs is reasonable. You know, saw a video, Sandy was able to share that, and, you know, that did make a big help, for sure. But I do also think like, yeah, you know, because, you know, we haven't done it in this specific way, I do believe there are stakeholders in the city, in the school district, and other IDAs that don't know the work that was done. And I think this helps alleviate going forward. I think another project is to evangelize all the work that's been done.
So I just want to say in objective 2, it seems to be geared towards pilots. I don't know that it should be geared towards just AIDA pilots, because AIDA received $1.2 million in a grant, which we had a hotel built, and then we turned the $1.2 million over. That created 14 jobs. That pilot is 20 years to Montgomery County IDA. So there's 14 more jobs at the hotel. Then we just heard from Joe tonight that Klaus invested $200,000 into our building. He has a lot of high price stuff going on down there, a lot of government clearances. Those jobs are directly related to him being able to have the space in order to manufacture what he needs to do in AIDA's building. So as Joe said before, we've given a reduced rent, but that building is one of the oldest structures in Amsterdam. And he maintains it on our behalf. It's ours. If he leaves, it's our building. But he does have a number of jobs that we support by having that rental agreement with him, no pilot. So I think there's things on here missing. You know, Joe went to Gloversville, the coffee roasters were looking for a new place. Joe found him a place in Amsterdam, created 5 jobs in Amsterdam, but there's no pilot with it. There's nothing. It was just Joe
Is it,
moving.
There's no headlines I don't need the
Was-
headlines, but it's
Wasn't there
it's
an
good to know.
administrative piece to the Sentinel?
Oh, yes, we got $120,000.
is there a way that you would,
$20,000 administrative piece that we got from that, and how many people are working there?
70, it's in here though.
is there a way to track those non-pilot work? Or do you think we call it that, non-pilot? Like, because a lot of what we do is pilots, but you gave some great examples. Do we do pilot work and then non-pilot?
Well, I don't know. I just know that, you know, with the hotel, this board secured with Jody at the time, and I think Joe was board member, we secured at 1.2 million. That made it them able to put $7 million into a hotel on the south side. And Montgomery County IDA, we partnered with them to write the grant. So there is a pilot, There is a pilot agreement on that property. It's not our pilot,
Right.
but we put the 1.2 million in this agency to create 14 jobs, which I believe they have to do for
So-
20 years.
And I just want to label, like, what's the bucket you label those things? Is it grants? Do we call it other, which we can? You know, I'm just like, what do you call these kinds of tools that are in our tool belt that aren't pilots, that aid jobs? Special projects?
Well, you know, I
And
mean, I'd
that's-
really like to see Klaus in here, because Klaus has been a long standing renter of our building. Ever since, what was the name of the place before? We always talk about it. Prior to Klaus,
Jim?
Gem Urethane.
Jim.
So since Gem Urethane left, that Klaus has been, you know, renting from us and having those jobs. And he'll tell you right out, he could not have those jobs without all of that space that he has there. And he's come before the board several times and spoken to us about it, so
Okay.
I'd like to see that in there.
Yeah.
Because we
There
are
There is
creating
a
those
lot, there
jobs.
is a historic synergy that we just kind of bubble in this office, and then it goes out to the businesses that are successful, and, you know, very grateful to this agency, but it's not really, you know, out there in the public, but
Yeah.
we just do the job. You know, a lot of people go home with a paycheck on a Friday,
And-
and because of this agency.
And I've been a part of contracts in my business that we've gotten fired from, or we didn't win renewal, excuse me. Because, you know, we were doing the job. We were exceeding expectations, but we weren't talking about it in the right venue. We weren't advertising it. And no one knew. So they said, you know what, you're more expensive. I'm not gonna renew your stuff anymore. And I don't want that, not that we're gonna lose our board. I just don't want anyone to be able to question, you know, what are they doing up there? What are they, besides streaming on YouTube and putting out meeting minutes, what are they doing? Mike, that's an excellent recommendation. I'm gonna try to experiment with special projects or you know, I know those are tools that we have to help a business, and it's non-pilot activity.
Mhm.
It might, a pilot, to your point, might be involved, but it might be someone else's pilot. So we should track that, because that's more than 400.
And, you know, again, we're limited, I hate to sound like a broken record, we're limited in the amount of properties that we own.
Right, yeah.
So we're trying to find always properties, you know, that we can squeeze something in, like the Beckman
Behind it.
parking lot.
Yeah.
It was a huge parking lot when the Gem Urethane was there, and there was a lot of employees. Now he's got a more of a refined employee group. So there's a big chunk of property that could have a shell building, that we own the property, that when Jerry was here, and Jerry and I went walking around, and we just like said, look at all this land here. We just discovered it because Klaus wanted to show us the improvements on his roof, et cetera. So, you know, there's a lot of things. Like just recently, I was in Malta at a brewery, a local Fulton County father and son team have a brewery in Malta, and Mike gave me a little lead, and I went up there, and they were really interested in Chalmers. And I thought, here I am, I'm ready to like say, we nailed something.
Yeah.
And then boom, and I'm learning that economic development is like this. You know, so yeah, you think you have something, and we're gonna work on making Chalmers, which is our marquee property, something that everybody can be proud of in this office here. So, you know, we want to make it just like the mayor wants the housing project, that to go. That's another marquee piece of property if the school district, you know, says okay, or the taxpayers say okay to the sale.
One
And-
question?
Yeah, go ahead.
On page 2, on the objective job linked capital investment, they, over on the right, you have something, and it's a couple of places, it says expiring post-pilot plan. What would be our involvement post-pilot?
Yeah, that's a note that like, you know, came up in the Paris report that, you know, the pilot is expiring this year. So, you know, kind of what is our plan there? Do they need further assistance to retain that business? Or is our, you know, pilot end, did we achieve what we meant to achieve? It's more of a note of like, we should probably think about that rather than let pilots expire.
Well, pilots will expire.
Yeah, they're for 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. And they all have a date here, but like, you know,
Once they're expired, they can't re-up and say, hey, can we have another pilot?
is there any,
Or they could make a capital investment.
Right.
To
Right.
qualify for a pilot, they have to meet certain conditions by the state that Chuck has to go through. They have to be able to hire a certain amount of people. They calculate what that generates into sales tax. And so there's a whole factor, a formula that they factor in that the state gives Chuck to help us with pilots. And it goes over 10 years. And we even have clawback provisions, our pilots, that if they don't meet the requirements of adding so many people on over the years, we could actually stop the pilot.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot to the pilots that could explain themselves.
so
And
take,
one other thing, Dan, not to interrupt, and Pat is probably will know and agree that pilots are important to this agency because we charge a fee to grant a agency a pilot, and that fee is our only way of revenue to keep things rolling in this office.
Do we apply for grants?
Yes.
Our agents, we can apply for grants for the business, but not for our agency.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
for business.
Yeah, I mean,
We could
we're just
buy
not gonna say, give us money and we'll figure out what to do with it. I mean, you have to have a
No,
purpose.
no, it
No,
has
we-
to be a specific project
Yeah.
and things like that. So these are things that's why I want to, when we go to the common council meeting, that we can explain these things, because I'm sure, like, just like I was when I first was a member of an IDA, I didn't know very much. I remember when I was first an alderman, I didn't know some of the acronyms, you know, what's AIDA stand for and things like that, you know, and so it's a learning process, so.
So Dan, maybe in this, when a pilot's gonna expire, there's a thing that says the executive director and chairman of the board go visit that thing. Explain why your pilot's expiring, is there something we can do for you, is there some way we can help you? Is there any, economic assistance you need? And that's our goal as a
Final report.
But after the pilot expires, they're paying 100% tax.
yes.
Right,
Yeah.
but
So
they
that's
may,
a good thing.
But maybe they're, yeah, but
maybe
they
they've
go
got
and
capital investment, capital improvements.
maybe they want something, maybe they don't even think about that. And if the director went and maybe, just said, oh, your pilot's
And
expiring.
like I said, Dan Gray and I are gonna do that, that's one of our assignments. Collaborating with the city and AIDA, we're gonna hit every single Edson Street property and then probably hit some more throughout, like Klaus Beckman's and some of the other big industries, because we are an industrial development agency. So, but if anyone needs help, like a local mini mart or something, we're also here to assist. The micro enterprise grant is a huge asset to the city through the Community and Economic Department, and I partner with them and I do the reviews of some of the business plans and, whether we're gonna give grant money out. So there's a lot of things that we do that really, go under the radar and,
And, you brought up a good, just because it follows on Joe's point, you brought up one thing we'll measure is just that, of like, that now falls under not only do we want to retain an existing partner or tenant, like in some other way, because it's a lot easier to work with someone we already have a partnership with, they made all their payments, that we have due diligence. There's not a lot of contract gotcha reviews for someone new that we don't know, so someone like an AGT or Beckman, we know who we're dealing with, they've been loyal. So seeing if we can help further is one. That goes in objective one, but then doing it with the city in coordination, going on a visit to say, hey, AGT, do you need anything from us? How can we help? Then that shows city cohesion too. So we're meeting two goals in that one initiative. Sorry, go ahead.
That's quite right. Go over to the next page into the net tax base trajectory. We have like a large, say we've got a lot of money. We've got $3 million. That of course doesn't tell anybody a lot, other than we got to target. Who can?
We have 3 million in assets. We only have $1 million in cash.
Okay, well that doesn't.
Assets are our properties.
Okay.
Klaus Beckman's property.
And, right, I guess that, as far as funding goes, I'm not really familiar with our funds. What I'm used to is like a city, you would have different types of money. You have capital funds, you'd have payroll, you have working funds. Is all of our money just our money? Do we have
All
to
of
have?
our money except for the Jobs for Amsterdam money is our money. So
Okay,
about $1
and that's
million.
included in the 3 million?
The 3 million are assets, so that
Right.
Chalmers is $300,000 we bought it for.
Yeah.
What did we buy that up there in Chris's ward for? 250?
Which one?
The project, that project right there.
Yes.
250, so that's 250,000
Uh.
isn't one of our assets. So there's 550, there's nothing we can
Right.
do with that right
Right.
now, but
And if you recall, once they build that place successful, that's
yeah, we get those
finished,
250.
we'll get that 250 back.
Mhm.
So our agency works on those kickbacks, so to speak.
No
or-
kickbacks.
No kickbacks.
Strike that from
The
the.
buybacks, the buybacks and the pilots and those types of things which keep us afloat.
We're like a mini coup d'etat in the city, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, like, for example, when you have the goals, you want to have 400 jobs, you want to have 11 pilots. And I wasn't sure to a certain extent, my question is, do we go out and sell ourselves? But you're saying essentially we do.
Do
We
we
would
want?
like to.
To go out and sell ourselves.
Yeah.
To reach these goals. We're I'm trying to really understand our organization. I guess I'm seeing us like a bank, but kind of an activist bank. Where people will come to us after they're denied from a bank. That's one of the requirements before we can see anybody. Is that correct?
Bank of last resorts.
So well, just a question, I guess, as far as the it says we made money, we're on track. I think it's probably a little too simplistic as far as reporting our assets and.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what is a goal? It's hard to like in baseball, like it's hitting 280 good, it's hitting 320 good, it's hitting 350. It's like,
Is our goal to make money or break even?
I don't think our goal is
Make money.
to
We're supposed to create jobs.
Create jobs.
Yeah.
While staying solvent.
And I think Dan's framework here is, he's worked at it and it's gonna work. I think it's gonna be the difficult part. It's gonna be, how do you rate us? Do we get an A or a B or a B minus for certain things? Because it's out of our control as an agency. We'll do whatever we can, but if a business decides to downsize and loses employees, we can go there and say, we've done this before, is there anything we can do to keep you here?
Mhm.
We don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
But other than that, that could look like, we just failed that objective because we lost, say, 12 jobs when they had 24. So, it's, but I think it's at least something that we can move forward on, and I like the idea we bring something simplistic to the Common Council and explain everything, and just for the reason of everyone, and even the people watching on TV, probably more of them watch the common council meeting than our AIDA board meeting, so not many are probably listening to what we've done. But it would be nice to know that we've done, like Pat said, look at the Sentinel, it was a decrepit
Just make sure it's
hotel,
simple as
and
forms.
we turned it into something successful.
I said, just make sure it's in its simplest forms, because we're just a bunch of poor folk in there.
A lot of pictures, a lot of.
Well,
Sock puppets, right?
You know,
Somebody who,
Get some picture books for us.
somebody who really understands something can explain it in the simplest possible terms, so that other people can follow it. So if you truly understand things, you can arrange it so anybody can follow it, and any reasonably intelligent person can follow it.
100%.
Dan, I'd like to compliment you on
Yeah, that's great.
putting together this report,
Thank you.
trying to qualify or quantify everything, which theoretically you should be able to do. This is a great report. Standards of performance are good in here, I think, as well, but the one thing that I don't see is a timeline. Is everything year to date, or is there a quarterly report?
Yeah,
Or semi-annual?
if you go to the final page, maybe we'll have one line in there. Like, we're gonna, maybe even go through some monthly tracking of each of these, which can be 5 to 10 minutes of, because we're not arguing with the KPIs anymore, the ways in which we measure a goal. We're saying, how are we doing? We're on track. How about city cohesion? Irene's here, great, another board meeting where we have representation there. It's something we do all the time, but never really talk about it out loud.
Okay.
But that is that is one piece of evidence of city and data cohesion. So we mark it down. And in December, we take a review of everything. And then, next time we'll start with a full calendar year of also adjusting goals too. So in January, hey, we're off of that 400 job mark. We lost 50 and it was,
So
we
it's like,
expect to lose that. So let's change the goal. Let's change the way we measure it.
Dan, one thing, our year ends June 30.
Mm.
That Paris report is based on June 30 and due September 30. 3 months you have to do it.
okay,
So this could be a nice way to start off a new year then.
So that's, yeah, and
So-
we do an annual meeting.
Yeah.
But our year starts July 1.
all right. So this
So-
document's a live document, more or less.
And it can be, we can start it virtually.
The city's year starts July 1, too.
I didn't even take that into account. So, so we can, have this live. I mean, I don't know how much we're gonna change in 2 months because, it's, a lot of our projects are multi-year. But, we can, make sure that we're, finalize, put some final touches on it and then have our new year, July 1, is what we set goals and start tracking.
Okay, I'm just thinking if we wait for a year, it may be too late to correct.
Mhm.
If it's each quarter, we take a look at it, we can adjust.
We can have a review. I think what I don't want to do is spend so much time
On the reports.
on reports and talking about how we're measuring success without being successful.
Well-
Let's talk about which sites rather than going through and talk about a Chalmers plan. So maybe we can do it. How about biannual? We do it every 6 months. So we review again in December. And are these
Yeah.
goals appropriate? And are we tracking towards them? Should we establish new goals? Are they complete enough? Are they hard to understand? Happy to make those changes. And then March, I feel like, even if we're like sailing, we're just adjusting slowly in the direction, but we're still moving generally forward.
I got you.
Okay, cool. Anyone have any objection to some of the refinements I hear of spelling things out, like Paris, like KPIs, like pilot, even defining them up front? I think maybe we have a glossary of those things is helpful.
Yeah, and assets, you might put, real property cash.
Okay. No, that's helpful too. I mean, like.
Simplify it. Well,
Yeah.
Dan did email me a couple days ago and asked me to look at that. And
At the 11th hour of tax
Well, I
season.
I'm on it. I looked at it. I told him I looked at it at home and then I was gonna say something and I just didn't have time for this meeting.
No, that's what this was for. It was for, you know, you to be able to look at it and then come and have a discussion. So that's a good one though, real property versus like, you know, liquid assets. I mean, that makes a big difference. I mean, Cuban and Trump argue like who has more money, who can write a bigger check, you know, whatever. So, and then, also just, not just pilots, but I'm gonna maybe go with special projects for your recommendation, Joe, of, things in our tool belt that are just not pilots, because we hear about pilots all the time, but it's not the only thing that we can do to help, bring jobs to Amsterdam. All right.
And then when we go to the common council, not only this document, but I think we should really highlight that we're working on that trail. We received $300,000 grant. We're improving the quality of the city in that way too. It's not part of this agency, but it's a huge benefit for us getting that grant and underwriting the 20% that we're gonna pay.
Well, we added the trail, right? Like as in the next version. Yeah.
Oh, and the next,
Yeah, Beacon Mills, that should be a priority thing for us, and we should track it and, advertise it.
It's a way to attract people to the community.
Yes.
That trailer was moved today after we spoke.
It was.
Yes, it's not there anymore. It won't be there again.
the trailer.
We had somebody put an RV on your property.
It's always something, the trail. Every years ago, we had a trail.
I know.
The fire chief advised that we have it.
I'm sorry?
Park around the different places.
The other thing, since
Like that catch
we're
field?
about ready
Thanks,
to make a
everyone.
Parking
motion.
lot? Yeah, you just practically live there all summer long.
I want to remind everyone that,
Yeah,
you know,
you just randomly parking everywhere.
Sandy sends out the meeting notices, and I know how busy all of us are. If you could just let her know if you're going to attend. I know some of you are boom the next day, and some of us Sandy has to send out an extra reminder. Only because if you aren't going to attend, and we don't have a quorum, she'll cancel the meeting, or she'll ask Dan to cancel the meeting. So it's good to have a quorum. So just a reminder on that. And other than that, I guess we can do a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Cortez, who seconded?
I second.
Joe
Joe second.
McDermott second.
Okay. Mr. Wojciechowski,
Yes.
Mr. Cortez.
Yes.
Mr. Baya, just say yes.
Or adjourn.
You can leave, you can wait, you don't have to come back and say yes.
Mr. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Deers.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Okay, adjourned at 6.
Great. Thanks everyone for your comments.
Mike, I've been working on the application, the loan application.